Welcome to the first in a series of interviews from the couch. This is the WineChap. Delighted to welcome Marchese Anselmo from San Leonardo in Trentino to talk a little bit about his wines, his life, and perhaps some of the problems that a winemaker faces today. Anselmo, are you relaxed? Are you comfortable first?
Tom, I'm comfortable. Finally. The couch is nice.
It's very lovely. Good. Just please tell us a little bit about San Leonardo and the history and yourself.
Well, you know, San Leonardo, you know it very well as your good friend, an old friend. But it's an ancient property. It's a nice story. It's a story that starts 1100 years ago in a little valley in Trentino, in the middle of the mountains, a place where monks were sent to civilize the valley and built a little church and named it after the saint San Leonardo, black and French saint. And around this little church, a community grew into a monastery, and then my family finally came in the 1600s to manage this monastery, this land around the monastery, and finally they bought it from the church in the 1700s. Ever since it's been in the family, and wine is a passion, and I think it's a drive also, you know, it's something that has profound roots in our family, tied very much to the love of our land and the will, a very strong will of all these people who have been living on this land to bring it on, and each person of our family is a custodian.
I think I remember you once told me a fact that that was the most important thing for you, and that you'd be just as happy if you grew really good potatoes, so long as you had that same relationship with the land and the people who worked it. I must admit, from my perspective, I'm pretty glad that you stuck to grapes rather than potatoes, but that's terrific. Now, maybe we could just dwell a little bit on the wine itself. Tell me, what makes San Leonardo so unique and so special?
Well, San Leonardo is a wine born in the mountains. It was my father to create the San Leonardo in the 80s, in a time where in Italy yet there were not so many famous wines. San Leonardo uniqueness comes from its terroir, which is a beautiful phrase made by French people, which means everything and nothing at the same time, because it takes into account everything. But it's true, microclimate, the vision of a man, the uniqueness of a trail system like Pergola Trentina mixed with Griot and Spur Cordon, and also the handcraft, this thing that San Leonardo is still made as it was in the 80s, all in concrete vats, all by spontaneous fermentation, not using any technology in the cellar. Not that we are against it, but you don't need it in this.
Again, I think I remember you told me years ago that when someone asked on a trip, how do you do the cellar temperature control? And you said, well, if it's hot, we open the door, if it's cold, we close it. So I don't know if things have changed since then.
We tried with the finger.
Oh, the finger, that makes sense too. I think just to conclude, if you could perhaps sum up San Leonardo, what it means to you in 3 words only, what would they be?
To me, life as a first word, elegance, and certainly balance.
Life, elegance and balance. Well, Anselmo, thank you very much for spending time on the couch here.
I feel very relieved now.
Good. Hopefully all your problems have now been assuaged.
Everything, I just feel so light.
Fantastic.
I think I'm going to have a glass of San Leonardo.
It's a brilliant idea, even though it's 9:30 in the morning. Excellent.
Exactly.
Anselmo, thank you very much.
A great pleasure, Tom.